The deafening sound reverberated through the dark currents, stirring up all the energy in this place. Even though the blood centipede had fallen, attempting to burn and purify its remaining power still came at a significant cost. After all, it was a Red King tier being. Currently, Xiao Yan's dou qi was severely depleted. Even though he had just been bolstered by so much energy, eradicating the Red King tier had drained all his strength. Fortunately, with the protection of the Baxia shell, the remaining energy and the rushing currents didn't affect him at all. After all, the Baxia shell was a part of the Baxia Dragon King, capable of withstanding attacks from anyone below the 4th reincarnation stage. It was truly a heavenly treasure. Without wasting any time, Xiao Yan quickly focused on recovering his dou qi. Once the energy settled slightly, he would need to venture deeper to find something crucial: the essence of the dimension. Fortunately, this time, the Yuanhai continent had yielded great rewards. By sheer chance, he had acquired the Baxia shell and the true dragon transformation of the Baxia Dragon King. As for Baxia, after being gravely wounded in the Great Heavenly War, it was sealed by 2 Red Kings, one at the 5th stage and the other, the blood-clad Centipede Marquis. Meanwhile, high above the Yuanhai continent's immortal sect, a white figure elegantly emerged from the clouds. With a serious expression, they gazed down at the sea below. Who is it? To dare cause such chaos in my immortal realm's domain? Such a massive disturbance. The one approaching is definitely not here for good intentions. As soon as the words left their mouth, the figure's speed surged, with an energy shield surrounding them, rapidly heading toward the sea below. From the aura and background of this person, it was certain they hailed from the immortal realm. On the Yuanhai continent's seas, enormous waves and storms began to surge, leaving countless humans awestruck. Below, the terrifying energy ripples from the 2 combatants continued for several minutes before finally subsiding. If it weren't for the sealing barrier suppressing the waves, the fluctuations would have already alerted the powerful beings of the immortal realm, prompting them to intervene. The Baxia shell is indeed a remarkable thing. Xiao Yan gazed at the turtle-like shell surrounding his body, with faint green dragon shadows flickering across it, releasing terrifying waves of energy. Even after the recent battle, the Baxia shell remained undamaged. Even the evil energy that had invaded it was completely purged by Xiao Yan's sacred flame, leaving the Baxia shell as pristine as ever. Still, I must hurry. Xiao Yan had managed to recover about 1/10 of his dou qi. With a thought, he controlled the Baxia shell and descended further below. He couldn't forget the primary goal of this mission, the essence of the dimension. As for the Baxia shell, it was purely a stroke of luck. However, after this battle, Xiao Yan's Dragon God 4th transformation, half-dragon form, had become a true dragon transformation. The power beneath this transformation was terrifying, capable of killing a first-stage opponent with ease. Even the full control of the first realm of the flame mantra would increase his strength further once he returned and meditated on it. But unfortunately, he hadn't yet learned the terrifying attack used by Baxia earlier, the Baxia Dragon God Claw. Otherwise, once executed, the power of that attack would be nearly unmatched. It was a signature move of Baxia, and it was truly a shame. The Baxia shell, entirely glowing with a cyan hue and resembling a turtle's shell, was covered in faint dragon shadows. It was incredibly tough and quite extraordinary. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Xiao Yan controlled the Baxia shell and descended several hundred meters, suddenly halting. A patch of dark mud appeared in his sight. Crack. Is this the end? But there's no sign of the essence of the dimension. Xiao Yan looked around but saw no trace of the essence of the dimension. Even Hun Tian Hao himself didn't know exactly what the essence of the dimension was, so it seemed Xiao Yan would have to search on his own. Swish, swish. The Baxia shell had a certain spiritual sense. It released a faint heat, seemingly warning Xiao Yan that something was below. What is this? Xiao Yan arrived at the bottom of the sea, 10,000 meters down, and noticed a slightly raised section of the dark sludge. He controlled the Baxia shell to approach it. What intense energy! Could this be the essence of the dimension? Gently, Xiao Yan reached out and wiped away the dark sludge, revealing a small yellow plant. 2 tiny leaves, with what appeared to be sharp tips in the center, surrounded by an extremely mysterious and ancient aura. The energy emanating from it left Xiao astonished. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As Xiao palm touched it, countless energy waves erupted in the surrounding sea. Around the yellow plant, a black hole formed, continuously absorbing all the surrounding energy. As it absorbed the energy, the yellow plant slowly began to glow with a silvery light. So it was because of the Batttle shell and the extraterritorial evil clan's presence that the growth of the essence of the dimension was hidden. Eat, eat. Xiao sighed helplessly. This is the aura of the extraterritorial evil clan? A white figure arrived at the place where Xiao had been fighting just minutes earlier. Looking at the disordered void, it couldn't help but express surprise. With a keen sense of smell, it detected a faint trace of evil energy that had only recently dissipated. As for the aura of the Batttle Dragon King, Xiao had cleaned it up completely, leaving no trace, so this figure was completely unaware of it. As soon as the words left its mouth, the white figure shot downward at incredible speed, releasing terrifying waves of energy. Upon closer inspection, its power was revealed to be at the level of reincarnation. In the dark, boundless sea, Xiao waited quietly for the essence of the dimension to mature. Suddenly, a white figure zoomed toward him. What's going on? While keeping an eye on the progress of the essence of the dimension, Xiao remained cautious about the surrounding dark sea. His indifferent gaze swept across the sea. Although it seemed calm on the surface, with no visible danger, Xiao sharp senses and immense soul power felt something was amiss. It seemed some creature had intruded into this space. This place is not safe. Xiao, puzzled, could no longer sense the source of the danger. He could only hasten the energy absorption by the essence of the dimension, hoping to leave as soon as possible. Suddenly, as Xiao was deep in thought, silver light clusters, resembling stars, began to appear faintly in the turbulent river of the dark sea. The silver clusters, like stars hanging in the sky, radiated a terrifying, overwhelming power. Go! Xiao felt extremely uncomfortable. He flicked his finger, sending out his flames to probe the situation. FZZZZ. FZZZZ. Xiao seemingly simple attack barely touched the faint silver light clusters, and immediately, violent energy ripples spread. Not good, it's a formation. Xiao was secretly shocked. He quickly stood up, intending to leave, but seeing that the essence of the dimension had not yet fully recovered, his expression darkened. How dare you, demon? Why do you covet my immortal realm's treasure? Hand it over, or I, this immortal, will not spare you. A white figure emerged, raising a jade sword toward Xiao. The sharp sword energy caused the very void around them to hum. At the same time, the silver light clusters appeared, forming a dazzling array of light that completely enveloped the area. Xiao mind was filled with frustration. He had just dealt with the extraterritorial evil clan and was allowing the essence of the dimension to absorb the local energy in preparation to leave. But unexpectedly, this strange figure had appeared halfway through. Xiao was still recovering from the previous battle, his body feeling drained. In such a state, even dealing with an 8-star Docian would be a problem, let alone this reincarnation-level opponent. Though the Batttle shell was a powerful defense, he couldn't rely on it forever without attacking. Moreover, this thing was a true treasure. Xiao believed that using it repeatedly would attract countless competitors. The essence of the dimension came in two types: human-cultivated and naturally occurring. The human-cultivated version held immense value, and its appearance could stir a great uproar. The naturally occurring version was harder to find, making it incredibly rare in the Great Thousand Worlds. The essence of the dimension on Yuan High Continent had always existed, but due to the energy seals placed by the Battlle shell and the extraterritorial evil clan, it had been forgotten by the immortal realm's experts. This is my discovery. I won't entertain you. As the essence of the dimension neared maturity, Xiao carefully placed it into his possession and began absorbing the surrounding energy to nurture it, preparing to leave. Despite the powerful formations in the surrounding sea, they were no match for Xiao. After all, he could now use nearly 100,000 formation symbols, and this formation only had a few thousand. Since this thing is in our immortal realm's domain, it belongs to us. Hand it over. Moreover, your identity is unclear. I suspect you have ties with the extraterritorial evil clan, so you must come with me to the immortal realm for investigation. The white figure's tone was aggressive, almost self-righteous. It gave Xiao no chance to escape as the formation's power caused white clouds to form, blocking all his retreat paths. It seemed that this figure was sure of defeating Xiao. Don't go too far. Xiao noticed that the brilliant white clouds contained a holy power, and their arrangement resembled a formation meant for imprisonment. His brow furrowed. This opponent's power was at the first reincarnation stage. Moreover, Xiao was unaware that she came from the immortal realm. The immortal realm indeed only has the Yao Pond, with the upper 3 heavens and 4 continents. However, over the long years that followed, the immortal realm began to take control of the lower realm continents. Although it has the smallest territory in the Great Thousand Worlds, it is quite favored by humans, and as a result, it still owns a considerable number of domain continents. Hand it over. The woman shouted sharply, and the cold light from her jade sword kept flashing, forcing Xiao into a corner. The formation around her also sealed off all of Xiao escape routes. This woman was quite beautiful, but at this moment, Xiao could not care less about such things, as he had no time to admire her. I'm not going to entertain you. Xiao had no interest in being involved with anyone from this continent. Right now, his only goal was to take the essence of the dimension back to the Do-Chi continent and upgrade it, so that he could solve future troubles. As soon as his words fell, he quickly gathered the remaining Do-Chi in his body and flew off at high speed. Where do you think you're going? With a graceful hand, the woman controlled her jade sword and unleashed hundreds of white beams in the sea domain, all aimed at Xiao. This crazy woman is really troublesome. Sensing the overwhelming force, Xiao shook his head helplessly, then activated his core inscription to try to evade the attack while struggling to break through her formation. Strange, this guy's turtle shell is so tough. Why is it that when my attacks land on it, they barely seem to have any effect? After making a move, the woman frowned, her beautiful eyes fixed on the Baxia shell on Xiao body, carefully inspecting it. I'm a reincarnation-level cultivator, and yet I'm stuck dealing with a mere 8-star Do-Xian powerhouse? How Uf formation, imprison him for me. As her voice fell, a silver light array appeared around her, transforming into countless silver star rays that chased after Xiao. Watch this, 7-layered skybreaker ruler. Seeing this, Xiao quickly stored the Baxia shell away to divert her attention, then pulled out the ancient ruler from his back and swung it randomly at the woman. 7 massive rays of light burst forth from the ruler, creating a grand display, but the power was shockingly weak. His identity had changed now, as he was the master of the boundless fire domain, and he couldn't act too flamboyantly, so he casually used some low-tier Do skills to confuse his opponent. Too weak. The woman casually swept aside Xiao attack and chased after him again, her serious expression showing that she clearly had no intention of letting him go. Don't go too far. Having failed to shake her off, Xiao brows furrowed in frustration. Life in the immortal realm was centered in the heart of the immortal realm, and provoking such a giant now would certainly cause many inconveniences for the boundless fire domain. Moreover, Xiao current strength was insufficient, so protecting the essence of the dimension was his primary responsibility. Hand over that thing. Because Xiao had acted so quickly earlier, the woman hadn't clearly seen what it was. All she could be certain of was that it was extremely valuable and filled with energy. Your Majesty Chang'e, you've arrived? Xiao slapped his forehead as he slowly recalled some of the prominent figures in the center of the immortal realm, and with a sincere expression, he said, his gaze fixed seriously on the empty space behind the woman. Your Majesty. At the same time, the white-robed woman was also stunned. Her power became still, and as she looked at Xiao expression, she couldn't help but turn around, ready to investigate. The woman turned around but found no one there. At the same time, the surrounding formation shattered, as if something had slipped away. How dare you deceive me? I am the rightful Moon Palace Fairy, and I will definitely capture you this time. Her voice spread widely as the woman's speed suddenly increased again, and she chased after Xiao, who had managed to escape. Really, just my luck. Xiao couldn't help but sigh. He didn't dare to return to the Dodi continent easily, so he could only stay in the Yuanhai continent for now. If he stayed too long, and this woman found out, more trouble would be inevitable. Thus, his search for the essence of the dimension came to an end, and Xiao even obtained the complete Baxia dragon transformation along with the Baxia shell, which was strong enough to withstand attacks from the 4th-tier reincarnation stage. This trip had been quite fruitful. Dodi continent, headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain. It seems we'll need to find time to deal with the Xiao clan issues, or the longer we wait, the worse it will become for us. Xun'er and Xiao Zifen appeared in a mansion, accompanied by several high-ranking officials, including the 3 matriarchs. The issues of the 2 continents had already been resolved, and they were now focusing on the matters of the Great Thousand Worlds. The Xiao clan's problems are too complicated. With the help of Senior Demon Emperor and Senior Devourer of Souls, we shouldn't act hastily. Everything will have to wait until Xiao strength reaches the reincarnation stage before we make a move. After all, the Xiao clan has offended far too many powerful figures. Xiao Zifen shook his head. He was only vaguely aware of the situation, as the Ghost Realm incident had allowed him to avoid the Xiao clan issues. Next, it seems the matter of the 7 realms in the Great Thousand Worlds will be upon us. Indeed. We'll discuss the rest later. The crowd smiled gently, their voices filled with a sense of satisfaction. The current prosperity of the Boundless Fire Domain was there for all to see. A month later, at the top of a towering mountain at the edge of Yuanhai continent, those who had been tracking Xiao had given up. Though frustrated, they had no choice but to stop, as Xiao agility in evading them was simply too much to handle. This guy's aura is extremely strange. From his tone, it seems to be from the Moon Palace. Forget it, forget it. We've finally rid ourselves of this guy. Now, with the first stage of the flame mantra mastered and the accumulation of various powers, it seems I need to hurry up and enter the reincarnation stage. Xiao sat on a piece of green stone, a luxurious golden scroll appearing in his palm. It caused the void before him to erupt with an intense spatial force. A spatial teleportation scroll. This was a fine item crafted by the reincarnation powerhouses of the Boundless Fire Domain. It allowed for short-distance teleportation through space, though the drawback was that it required spatial coordinates. Currently, Xiao could only use this item to return to the Dodi continent from places like the Ghost Realm, unable to use it to teleport from the Dodi continent, as it was one way. Thump! He effortlessly leapt into the scroll, and the return journey only took a few hours. Dodi continent. On the Dodi continent, the aftermath of the Holy Sea War and the battle with the extraterritorial evil clan from the continent of Doqi had caused a massive stir. This had led to the current grand momentum of the Dodi continent. Behind it, countless new forces were flourishing. Amid the bustling sounds of humanity that had been long absent, the power of the Dodi continent had been growing exponentially. Even some powerful figures from other continents had come to pledge allegiance, especially due to Xiao extraordinary reputation as a holy-tier alchemist, which earned him the respect of many 8-star Docian and even reincarnation powerhouses. His youth made his future potential limitless. The sudden rise of such a massive force was, of course, closely watched by other dimensional continents. The situation in the Boundless Fire Domain was no different. Unlike the Holy See, which had the Pope and an immensely powerful background from the Angel Kingdom, making it difficult for other continents to act despite their watchful eyes, the Boundless Fire Domain was different. Its new forces, in terms of foundation and combat power, were far behind that of the Holy See. Moreover, there was no powerful being in charge behind the scenes. This had caused some continent powerhouses to eye this fertile land with greed, their movements now becoming increasingly bold, as though a storm were approaching. Though they still feared the soul-devouring domain and the monster realm, many powerhouses from other continents still chose to believe in the Boundless Fire Domain over the rumors, since rumors were nothing more than rumors unless seen with their own eyes. The 4 continents of the Dodi continent had already united under the leadership of the 3 women, whose forceful actions had driven out any suspicious or untrustworthy sects and powerhouses. The boundless fire domain had now truly become the supreme ruler of the Do-D continent. This brewing storm was known to the high-level figures of the boundless fire domain. Hence, the reincarnation powerhouses of the ancient clans had not secluded themselves again, occasionally showing up and shaking the other continents with their presence. 3 days later, Xiao successfully returned the essence of the dimension and handed it over to Xun'er and the other reincarnation powerhouses for processing. They had already begun upgrading the Do-Chi continent's dimension. As for Xiao, he sought out a quiet mountain range to enter seclusion, focusing on comprehending the first stage of the flame mantra and the power of the Baxia body. Whoosh whoosh. On the quiet mountaintop, Xiao sat in a basin, leisurely exhaling wisps of azure mist. The azure mist was like a pure energy liquid, flowing into Xiao's body. Immediately, azure dragon scales appeared faintly on his skin, their power captivating. The power of the first stage of the flame mantra is indeed extraordinary. After using it, my foundation is more stable, and due to this foundation, my body has become incredibly formidable. With the holy flame power having reached its peak, a mysterious flame cauldron seems to form faintly in my chest. This has greatly amplified the power and release of the holy flame. It seems that facing an 8-star Docian in peak condition would not be a problem. Moreover, the power of Baxia's dragon transformation is also exceptionally fierce. I believe that now, even against those who have just entered reincarnation, or those at the weak first-tier reincarnation stage, I would be more than capable of handling them. Xiao thought to himself, as amber flames and azure dragon shadows intertwined, slowly circulating over his body. However, Xiao still felt a little disappointed. After all, his mastery over water elements was not yet complete. Currently, he only had control over wood, thunder, and fire. Imperial Flame Ring. He murmured again, and immediately, a dazzling holy flame ignited from Xiao's palm, burning the Imperial Flame Ring. Since the flame mantra had already surfaced, it seemed that the secret of the Imperial Flame Ring was also close to being unraveled. The Imperial Flame Ring was burning, emitting a series of surprisingly pleasant sounds. In an instant, a light yellow parchment scroll appeared. Fire Elemental Scroll? Wait, is this a mid-level immortal art? Xiao's expression couldn't help but shift to one of surprise as he gazed at the scroll. Whoosh whoosh. At that moment, the clan symbol on Xiao's forehead glowed with a burst of intense heat, responding to the Imperial Flame Ring. I'm afraid this is related to the Xiao clan that disappeared, and perhaps to Senior Tuasha, the ancient emperor as well. He carefully stored the fire elemental scroll, his fists instinctively tightening. After Senior Xiao Xian was resurrected, he lost all trace. Additionally, there's the Yama of the 10th King, who is said to be recovering his strength. Wait for me. Xiao muttered to himself, growing increasingly eager to explore the great thousand worlds, a place where only the strongest could tread. Reincarnation. Only by advancing his own strength into the realm of reincarnation could he hope to reach those heights. This was currently Xiao's greatest concern. This guy has been much more behaved these past few days. Not far from the peak, two graceful figures appeared. Seeing Xiao so calm, Mu Yingying was the first to speak. Let's go. First, we'll update him on the matters in the boundless fire domain. Then we can make further plans. Xun'er smiled brightly and then flew over together with her. Madams, to what do I owe the pleasure? Xiao rose to his feet, his previous worry disappearing instantly, replaced by a wide smile as he looked at Mu Yingying and Xun'er. You're such a dreamer. Mu Yingying teased with a playful laugh. Xiao Gij, the boundless fire domain is now on the right track. Upgrading the Do-Chi continent's dimension is only a matter of time. Once it's done, we can continue cultivating. Xun'er explained all the matters to the two women, looking quite satisfied. The three of them casually chatted atop the peak, but soon a dazzling, colorful light appeared from the headquarters of the boundless fire domain. A signal from Sister Kailin? Mu Yingying stared in surprise at the colorful aura spreading across the horizon. The boundless fire domain was now a fortress, and there hadn't been any invasion by the extraterritorial evil clan. What could this mean? Let's go. Sister Kailin might have made an important discovery. Let's head back. With that, the three of them flew into the air, heading back toward the boundless fire domain. The trio moved quickly, and just a few minutes later, they arrived at the main hall of the boundless fire domain. When they entered, they were greeted by a very unfamiliar man sitting in the hall. This man had yellow hair, and his attire was as strange as yellow leaves. His ears had fine hairs, and his nose was much sharper than a human's. His whole being exuded a mysterious aura, part monster, part human. Upon closer inspection, his aura was only at the mid-8-star Dosian level, but the strange energy he gave off left even the experienced Xiao feeling confused. It seemed that he had never encountered such an unusual presence before. This must be the renowned domain lord of the boundless fire domain, Lord Xiao, right? The man noticed Xiao arrival and, after a careful examination, quickly rose to his feet. His voice was rapid, and his eyes contained an eager intensity. And who is this? Xiao walked toward the man at the center, while Kailin and Xun'er were seated nearby, seemingly waiting for him. This guy came specifically to see you. Kailin shook her head. This man had fallen through the void just minutes ago, mysteriously appearing above the boundless fire domain. His aura was unstable, clearly having gone through some difficulty. After being noticed by the domain's reincarnation experts, he demanded to meet Xiao. Normally, Kailin wouldn't allow anyone to disturb Xiao, but some of the man's energy felt strangely familiar to her, prompting her to call for Xiao. Lord Xiao, I apologize for the sudden intrusion, but I had no other choice. I am Xiao of the Elven race. The stranger quickly cupped his hands and introduced himself. The Elven race? As soon as Xiao finished speaking, the people around him immediately reacted in unison. It was clear that those two words carried great significance. Elves? Xiao was puzzled, as he had never had any connection with the Elven race. Elves are one of the most mysterious beings, aside from humans and magical beasts. They are like embodiments of nature, born from the essence of countless natural energies, the sun and the moon, masterpieces of creation. The elves are a diverse group. Some, like the alluring female elves skilled in witchcraft, are renowned for their beauty and charm. Xun'er stole a few extra glances at Xiao, her gaze carrying hidden meaning. Lord Xiao, please don't misunderstand. Xiao spoke again, his tone growing serious. It was clear that he had come for a specific purpose. The fire elves are the elite of the elven race. They command a unique and powerful force that sets them apart from the rest of their kin. Flames. Although their flames are not as powerful as the sacred flames, they are distinctive in their own way. Even reincarnation-level experts are cautious of the path of flame cultivation mastered by them. Kailin, having read about them in ancient books, couldn't help but explain further. Fire elves? Do you know someone named Xiao? Hearing Xiao's words, Xiao couldn't help but ask, his voice betraying a hint of emotion. It had been a long time since he last saw Xiao, and after Xiao left, she had planned to head to the Fire Elf clan. Lord Xiao, I came here today precisely for this matter. In our Fire Elf clan, there are 3 major subtribes. Every century, we gather to compete and select the next leader of the Elven race. Xiao spoke in a fragmented manner, as though hesitant, aware that these were secrets of the Fire Elf clan. Say no more. What happened to her? Xiao voice was soft, but anger was slowly brewing beneath the surface. Brother Xiao, it's all right. Xun'er, quick to react, hurried over to Xiao and tried to soothe his rising anger. Naturally, she held great affection for Xiao, but after the 5 emperors broke through the void, they had never seen her again. Lord Xiao has returned powerfully, not only bringing with her a new sacred flame embryo, but also a reincarnation seal that is linked to some of our clan's secrets. Under her astute leadership, the weakest of our 3 subtribes has started to thrive. Over these years, no matter what crises we faced, it was Xiao who carried us through. There are even signs that she may clash with the other 2 subtribes. The other two sub-tribes have always been the noble lineages with elven king blood. Upon sensing Xiao Yi's exceptional talents, they secretly joined forces to suppress her. Now that the competition is nearing, our tribe is too weak to stand against the other candidates. Our elders have learned that you and Xiao Yi are brothers, so I dared to. I wish to ask for your help, Lord, in securing the Fire Elf clan's leadership position, Xun'er said directly. Is this the decision of your tribe, or hers? Xiao Yin, feeling somewhat relieved, smiled and shook his head. Lord, it is our decision. The candidates from the other two sub-tribes have already reached reincarnation level. Though Xiao Yi is extraordinarily talented, she still hovers below reincarnation. Furthermore, out of concern for you, Lord Xiao Yin, she once strictly forbade us from seeking you out, but now, our sub-tribe is in decline. If we fail in the competition, the other two candidates, with their wisdom, will likely wipe out our entire sub-tribe. Knowing Xiao Yi's fiery spirit, I fear. Xun'er's expression grew somber. That guy. It's been so long since I last saw him, and now he's become this strong-willed. Tomorrow, I'll go with you. Xiao Yan's voice was filled with a passionate and uncontrollable heat as he laughed nonchalantly. Lord, the Fire Elves' realm is extremely secretive. Constructing a special space portal may take 10 days, and we will need the help of reincarnation-level experts from your boundless fire domain. I'll point out the coordinates. Xun'er's face lit up with joy, but then he scratched his head. After all, he had come out alone to seek help, so he needed Xiao Yan's power to return. No problem. Then in the next few days, I'll have to trouble Elder Feng and the others. Xiao Yan nodded, well aware that for the Fire Elves, such a massive entity had to change their location with time to ensure the safety of their race. It made sense. Not a problem. However, only the Domain Lord can go from our side. The situation in Boundless Fire Domain is also critical. Whether it's the three matriarchs or other powerful figures, they are the backbone of Boundless Fire Domain, and none of them can be absent. Feng Wanner expressed her concern. I'll be fine alone. Xiao Yin laughed carelessly, understanding her worries. For the next 10 days, Xiao Yin quietly focused on cultivating his own power. Fire attribute, sacred flame, thunder attribute, wood attribute, and the formations he had left behind for too long. Despite Boundless Fire Domain's wealth, they had only managed to gather 2 small-level immortal art skills for him. One was wood attribute. One was thunder attribute. Additionally, there was a mid-level immortal art fire attribute scroll in the Imperial Flame Ring. With these 3 battle skills, Xiao Yin had more than enough to dominate among 8-star Docian powerhouses. As for the alchemist and soul power, it seems they will have to be put off for a while. Even with the vast resources of the Boundless Fire Domain, they haven't been able to find any, as methods to cultivate or harness soul power are extremely rare. However, the multitude of powers within Xiao Yan's body is somewhat terrifying. Despite only being at the mid-8-star Docian level, his combat strength is likely beyond the typical reasoning. The space channel linking to the Fire Elf clan has been established. The Boundless Fire Domain is now in your hands. Standing before the space channel, Xiao Yin and Xun'er gave their instructions to the group. With time pressing and to prevent any leaks, they had kept things quiet, sharing the plan with only a few trusted individuals. Don't worry. The 3 women nodded in unison, and the core members also looked at Xiao Yin with reverent gazes. Building the Boundless Fire Domain requires vast human and material resources, and it demands the involvement of these high-ranking members. In addition, there are concerns about other continents coveting it, so this mission must be handled by Xiao Yin alone. Let's go. Aware of the urgency, Xiao Yin didn't waste any time. With a swift wave of his hand, he stepped into the channel with Xun'er following closely behind, heading toward their destination. Though being protected feels pretty good, I don't quite like it. Though it might be exhausting, the outcome is worth trying. Just wait. Watching Xiao Yan's retreating figure, the women's belief in their strength swelled. While a vase may be beautiful, it's plain and unremarkable. Inside the space channel, the passage was more stable than previous ones, yet still eerily silent. Occasionally, spatial energy would howl, and the power within it was suffocating. Lord Xiao Yan, Our Fire Elf clan's headquarters is located to the north of the Heavenly Sea space. The southeast, southwest, and northeast directions each correspond to 3 major branch tribes of the Fire Elf clan. Even other beings, when near, regard us with awe. After all, we Fire Elves are the dominant force in the Great Thousand Worlds. Throughout the journey, Xiao explained everything about their destination. Although he reined in his pride when discussing some matters regarding the Fire Elves, the pride on his face was still unmistakable. It seemed to be in his blood. However, this was understandable. After all, the Fire Elf clan held significant power in the Great Thousand Worlds, and such pride was justified. Xiao listened carefully to the important information, ignoring anything irrelevant. After all, whether Xiao was a Fire Elf or a Water Elf, in Xiaoyan's eyes, only Xiao mattered. If Xiao encountered any trouble here, Xiao wouldn't hesitate to turn the Fire Elf clan upside down. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the silent void ahead of them. Ethereal, otherworldly light seeped from the crack, and vague human figures could be seen. The figures exuded overwhelming fluctuations, stepping out leisurely, seemingly heading straight for Xiao and Xiao. At this moment, Xiaoyan's gaze sharpened, and he looked warily at Xiao. This seemed like too much of a coincidence. Lord, about this, Xiao, feeling Xiaoyan's intense gaze, couldn't help but feel a shiver run down his spine. He hurriedly explained, though confusion lingered in his expression as he watched the figures emerging from the space channel. Xiao, you've done well. You've truly lived up to our expectations, and the trust our Elf King placed in you was not in vain. The 2 figures, one male and one female, appeared to be dressed like a lady and a servant. They broke through the void with a tremendous force, revealing themselves. The woman in a white gown stepped slowly from the crack, a seductive yet cold smile forming on her lips as she spoke. You bastard! You actually schemed against me. Xiaoyan's face turned red with fury as he shouted. He had secretly left the Heavenly Sea space alone to enter the boundless fire domain and seek Xiaoyan's help, keeping it hidden from everyone. No one should have known about it. Upon further thought, Xiaoyan's eyes grew cold. The Heavenly Sea space was incredibly stable, and only someone with reincarnation-level power could break through the void to leave. Yet, he had left so easily. So it was all your scheme. Xiao roared. It turned out that the other 2 candidates had intentionally set him up, sending him out to find Xiao, then planned to eliminate him once they reached their destination. That way, even if Xiao fell, they could present evidence showing he perished in spatial turbulence, with no connection to the Fire Elf clan. Now, everything depended on the relationship between Xiao and Xiao. After all, the 2 figures before them were both nearing the threshold of reincarnation, with the quiet elf man behind them already at that level. The woman's cold voice carried a deep sense of pride. Looking up, the elven woman had yellow hair that cascaded down her shoulders, exuding an indescribable light, ethereal aura. Apart from that, her sharp, furry ears, delicate nose, and fingers, while similar to humans, had subtle differences. Her entire delicate frame radiated a fragrant, alluring, and noble scent. Lord Xiao is protected by the Demon Emperor of the Monster Realm and the Soul-Devouring Domain, among other realms. If you harm him, Xiao subtly gestured to Xiao, seemingly signaling him to escape. Indeed. Though rumors can be true or false, we chose to act in this space as a way of showing respect for the Domain Lord of the Boundless Fire Domain. Destroy your battle core, leave behind your holy flame, and end your own life here. We may consider sparing the Boundless Fire Domain. The woman in the white dress looked on with indifferent eyes, her tone resembling that of a queen speaking from on high. Bang! Bang! Xiao remained unfazed, casually firing a beam of flame at the silent spatial corridor around him, yet it caused no ripples. There's no need to exert yourself. This spatial corridor has already been secretly sealed by us. Unless you have reincarnation-level power, there's no escape. Watching Xiao actions, the elven man behind him scoffed leisurely, as if he had no intention of intervening. Oh, just what I wanted. After Xiao spoke, His entire body was enveloped in a layer of silver lightning, and the surrounding space began to tremble. The next moment, he vanished without a trace. TCH, turns out he's a coward. Why did Her Highness warn us to be extra cautious? Sensing Xiao Yan's sudden disappearance and the shift in his aura, the elven woman shook her head with a cold smirk. Slap, slap, slap. Before the woman's voice had even faded, a sharp whistling sound cut through the air, and the next moment, a silver lightning tiger surged through the void. A crisp sound rang out. On the elven woman's delicate face, two bright red handprints, tinged with silver lightning power, stood out vividly. Ah! You dare hit me! I'll kill you! The pain from the stinging, numb sensation on her cheeks caused the elven woman's eyes to glow crimson. Endless fury, coupled with terrifying power, surged forth. Her strength,